All right, good evening, class. Okay, so this is the second part of 1-9, dividing decimals. And so we're going to take the division algorithm, we're going to take it a little bit further now, and what we're going to do now is we're going to divide decimals. So we're going to specifically focus on what happens when the numbers that we're dividing, or more importantly, the number we're dividing by is a decimal. So this is part B of the 1-9 lesson, which you are actually watching in class right now. All right, so let's continue on. All right, so to get started with, let's take a division problem like 0.248 divided by 0.04. Well, rule number one for dividing decimals is going to be, just like always, we do the little crisscross. We put the number being divided under the division sign, and we put the 0.04, the thing that's doing the dividing, we put that out front. And rule number one of how to divide by a decimal, literally, don't divide by a decimal. Okay? What we're going to do instead is we are going to fix the decimal. So the front number was 0.04. We're going to go ahead and we're going to move that decimal so that it's out of the way. We're going to move it 2 places to the right, so we're actually going to be dividing by 4. Now usually in math when you do one thing, you have to do the same thing somewhere else. And what we're going to have to do here is we're going to take the number being divided and we're going to move its decimal the same number of places. Now this one's allowed to still have a decimal in it. We saw some of those yesterday. Okay, and we put the decimal right up here on the top line, and at this point we don't think about the decimals the whole rest of the problem. Now, continuing on from here, we're still going to do, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? So I'm going to go through this a little bit quicker today. By the way, if that's a little too messy for you, you can absolutely go ahead and rewrite the problem as 4 is dividing 24.8. It's the exact same problem, and so that's a little bit neater. So we ask ourselves, divide, 4 goes into 24, a total of 6 times. We multiply, 4 times 6 is 24. We subtract, we get 0. That is definitely less than 4. That's our check step. And finally, we bring down the 8. Now we start over, and we divide, multiply, subtract, check, and bring down. 4 goes into 8 2 times. We multiply, 4 times 2 is 8. We subtract, we get 0. Again, that's less than 4, and we're done. There's nothing else to bring down, and our answer is 6.2. So, how do you divide by a decimal? You don't. You fix the decimal in the front. It doesn't matter what happens underneath, but the decimal, if there's a decimal out front, the thing that's being divided, the thing that's doing the dividing, you have to fix that first. All right, so that's part 2. So let's go ahead and practice this. So I've got one already set up here. Suppose we have 8.64 and we're dividing it by 0.08. Again, there are 2 decimals in the front, so we have to first fix that. So we're going to move 2 decimals to the right in the front, and we do the same thing here. We move 2 decimals to the right, which means that the decimal point for this one is going to go right there. Okay, if we need to add extra zeros, they will go here. So let's go ahead and see what happens here. So one more time, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? Divide, 8 goes into 8 one time. Multiply, you get 8. Subtract, you get 0. Check, that is less than 8 for sure. Bring down the 6. 8 goes into 6 0 times. That's totally allowed. 8 times 0 is just 0. Subtract, you're still going to have 6. It is still less than 8. That's why it wouldn't go in. Bring down the 4, and 8 goes into 64. We're starting over. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? So we divide, 8 goes into 64 8 times. When I multiply, 8 times 8 is 64. When I subtract, I get 0, and there's nothing else left, so there's no sense continuing, and that is my answer. The answer is 108. Okay? Give one more example here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. This one's a little harder because the number I'm dividing by is much bigger. Okay? 1.25. So we're going to start by moving the decimal out of the number doing the dividing. We do the same thing to the number being divided, so the decimal is going to appear right there. Okay, at this point, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? Question mark. Yes, it does. Okay, so we're dividing by 125. Now this one's going to be a little bit more work. 125 goes into 3, no, it doesn't go into 3. Does it go into 38? No. But what about 381? At this point, we're looking at all 3 of these digits. 125 goes into 381. Might take a little trial and error, but you'll see it goes in 3 times. Multiply 3 times 125 and you get 375. Subtract and you're going to get a difference of 6. That is way less than 125, so bring down the 2. Does 125 go into 62? Oh, and I didn't leave myself quite enough room there. The answer is no, so I'm going to put a 0 here, and I'm going to bring down the next digit, which is 5. Does 125 go into 625? And the answer is yes. It goes in 5 times. And 5 times 25, 5 times 5 is 25, carry a 2. 5 times 2 is 10, carry a 2, you get 12. And if this is a little hard, come over here and just do the math here. Alright, you get 25, carry a 2. You get 10, plus 2 is 12, carry a 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. And sure enough, it comes out exactly 625. Cool. Now when I subtract, I get a remainder of 0. And my answer for this problem is 30.5. Okay? Alright, so that's how you divide by decimals. Okay. Now the video that you watched today in class was kind of a long one, 15 minutes, and that goes over. If you're having trouble with does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers, go back and review that video. This video is just for how to handle the decimals. Okay, so I'm going to cut this one a little bit short. So that's it for tonight. And instead of 3 words, we're going to end with 2. I will see you all tomorrow, and we will practice doing some more division because, like we've said in class, once you get good at something, it's not... Oops, sorry, I got interrupted my recording. So like I said, once we're good at something, we won't worry about it nearly as much, and it will be something that we will actually become very comfortable with and maybe even start to enjoy. All right? So I will see you all in class tomorrow. Thank you very much.